today.
Do you know what? I love the fact that I'm now deciding what we're going to talk about on a day where there is literally hardly anything to talk about compared to normal. Like
There's always random thoughts we can talk about.
always, always, always. So what are we going to start with? We're going to start with the latest event, cave stuff. Let's go through. Okay, so I'll be honest. This wasn't for me because I've already got the Scorpion. Don't want the big purple shooter, and I wasn't really a fan of the March troop. But I don't know. What did you guys think of it? I know, Sol, you said something about the purchase aspect on one of the dice bits and pieces, but rewards-wise, what did you think of that? Or did you just go branch all the way?
The event was definitely geared towards like reinforcing, like for the big prizes anyway. It was for like reinforcing, maybe getting an extra dupe or two or whatever of that shooter purple ant, or if you missed out on getting it before, grabbing it up this time. So yeah, I would say that like as far as the prizes, nothing new was introduced, so it was kind of blah in that case. But well, besides the March skin. But
what's your thoughts on that? Obviously, you know that shooter ant. We spoke about it being obviously worth getting, and everyone was talking about like DPS on whatever else being great and fantastic. But when is that now going to come in? Because obviously you've been doing this for a while. So we've had we've gone in, we've bought it the first time around, and now we're looking for our 3 extra dupes, right?
Yeah.
When are we now going to see that again after this one? So if you didn't do it on both occasions, when's the next time that we're now going to see this?
This was the third time it was brought out.
This is the final one for the 3, right?
For the shooter ant. Yeah. This was so they've already, like, technically if you bought every copy, you could have already had that ant to 8 stars if during the first 2, and then this one came out. So this is more for players that either didn't grab it or, you know, decided they're going to take it to a higher level or whatever. So I will tell you this: I bet you a carrier ant's coming soon, a new carrier ant, because we had a guardian and now we had a shooter, and so Honeypot's old enough to where
Honeypot awakening as well now. So
So I think a new carrier ant will be the next one. Personally, this is obviously just my opinion, but we'll see what happens. But I think coming to the event, we'll see whatever next event is. I think we'll see a new carrier ant. It's kind of a little too early for insect release, I think. So, but maybe. I mean, who knows?
No,
we'll see what's coming.
I've been sacrificing chickens for the last 3 weeks for a carrier ant, so I'm hoping it's worked.
You know,
Ghosty thinks it'll be a shooter. I don't know. I mean,
no.
Technically, a shooter was the last one out, so I don't think it'll be a shooter.
I definitely don't think it'll be that. No.
He's just
okay. But I will say this. But let's put up that photo of that pack that was kind of new, that we've never seen happen before. I mean, we've seen it happen before, but then like it got returned, so people were a little thrown off by it. But there is a pack.
People just didn't grab it.
there is a pack that normally gives you 40 of those turns or whatever dice, right?
Yeah.
And that pack is normally in US $49.99. So they had one pack that gave you 40 dice for $4.99. So 90% off, which was very unusual. I will admit I didn't grab it on day one because I'm like, this smells a little bit like the dandelions, where someone in the dev team accidentally set it for $4.99 instead of $49.99. So I was a little hesitant, but a lot of players had grabbed it up and whatever, and they went on social media and posted that, hey, look at this pack. It looked at first that it was going to be like every day you would be able to get 40 dice for $4.99. So I'm like, all right, let me grab that today so that way I can get it tomorrow. And so I grabbed it, and it turned out it was $4.99, but it was a one-time thing.
One-off. Yeah.
Oh my God, every day would have been amazing.
Oh, yes.
Oh my God.
Yes. But it was still, I mean, it's still kind of cool. I mean, I hope that they continue to do stuff like that, because it does get you further along in the maze and allowed you to get allowed you to get extra stuff. Exactly. So, you know, if they do that, that's going to be a good thing, right? I mean, get a little bit further along. Now, I don't know if they're going to do that every event, but maybe they did it because there really was no new content besides that March skin. And let's be honest, most people don't chase after the March skins that much because, they look cool and everything, but it's not a huge stat improvement towards accounts. So, like, you know, obviously different players handle spending differently, you know, like prioritizing it. But, like, for the most part, a March skin doesn't give a huge stat improvement. So it's not like, on the tiers of value or ROI in this game, that this event didn't offer a lot unless you didn't have the ants or whatever. But yeah, I thought
a catch-up event, basically.
I got my Canadian friends here $6.99 instead of $4.99, but on the picture.
Oh. Okay, can someone explain to me what the March troop is? Anyone at all?
You mean the
I have
March
a picture
skin?
of it somewhere.
Yeah, like, what is it?
Oh.
It's
Well,
just leaves, flower, and then I don't even know what I thought when I first looked at it the other day. I thought it was like a butterfly, but then
It's a
like
boat.
it's
It's a little
Those
leaf
are
boat.
sails. The butterflies
they're sails.
Mm-hmm.
It's a war
They're
boat.
Sails, right? Okay,
Galaxy
and
boat.
the galaxy part.
I like
Mm.
I like the boat theme, I have to say. I wonder, you know, one of my suggestions was if they're going to add any water element to this game with ants on ships fighting with each other. That reawakened my dream.
Do you know what would be better? Would be the ability to remove the leaf when you cross it in season.
Oh yes, or the leaves change. Like, so once someone takes the leaf then moves.
Yeah, literally, that's it. It just floats on down the river to somewhere else. So whatever building you can go into.
But
Definitely.
Well,
I mean,
we do-
it's a pretty skin.
We do have zombie ants with wetlands, so maybe the next one will be pirate ants.
Oh, that'd be fun.
For that season.
Yeah.
Like a little ant riding the leaf down the rivers.
Arr.
Okay, so again, I think you're spot on. I think it's like a catch-up event in it, so it's like a fodder field ready for the new ant. So, did you actually max that one, Nim? The shooter
No.
ant?
No, I
You just went
I
to
can't.
7?
In my opinion, for myself, I just can't justify buying the extra dupes to get it to full. Like, it just, the cost does not outweigh the benefit for me, especially with like the season ants performing so well. I'd rather invest in like a new insect if that's coming, or other areas of my, like, for greater gain, if that makes sense.
Yeah. yeah, totally. And Bug, have you got anywhere that works out the actual cost for buying insects to get you a 7-star versus the 350 to get you a 7-star on here?
Well, they're both worth 6,000 points, so the cost is the same for an insect.
No, but I mean, like, if you were going to actually go into the packs and actually buy enough insects to create yourself a 7-star from the insect packs, in the generic purchase section, whether
Oh,
or not you get a 7 for that 350.
I'll have to calculate that sometime. I haven't, but
I think that'd be worth having a look at as well.
yeah, I agree.
Okay, cool. Anything else on that? I think anyone else
I would
that
just- I would
needed that
just
shooter
say-
ant has got it.
For
So
somebody who didn't spend on the event, I would say I liked it because I got some primary forage for, season fighting or just whatever. I was able to pick
Yeah.
up like I think 200 primary forage for stamina, so I loved
I think
that.
that's it. It's standard
Yeah.
200 in that event. Yeah, pretty decent. Okay, glory. See, I'm kind of stuck on this one now because I need to grab the last pack to get the 5 reforms. So I really like these events. I think they're really decent. I like the ability to obviously swap in and out whatever you want to grab from them and so on and so forth. Especially this week when I've been chasing down Ascent shells like they were going out of fashion. So that was quite handy. So I'm on the middle of that one now, just about to grab the 2, which is I think $19.99 for the 5 reforms, and then you get another 5 for landing up on the 2. So, but you guys been buying in that one this time around or not?
Not me this time around.
I didn't really purchase for this event. I mean, there's a couple items I'm looking at that I'm like, yeah, those would be nice to have, but I'm trying to behave myself a tiny bit more.
No
and,
way.
Save up for other shiny things. I mean, I like the little event and stuff, but I always know, like, I already knew going into it that I wasn't going to push to get the March
Buy it.
skin.
But yeah.
So I'm like, I'm never going to get that. So I'm not going to max out the event anyway. And there are a few items I'd really like, but I was like, so I mean, for me, I appreciate these little events. I like that there's an event where you can get rewards without any spending because that benefits our free-to-play players a lot.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think the materials there are pretty handy, but yeah, I chose not to really spend on that event at all.
Anyone else? Bug?
No, yeah, same. I didn't spend on it either. Just got the free stuff and said thanks.
Thank you.
I bought the $4.99 pack.
Like the buddies, the buddy
Yeah.
pack.
The buddy.
I was looking at that.
I think they're
But I
the ones that I think I always do as well. I think most of us always do, don't we, on VIP as well, and grab those each week.
Usually, yeah.
I'm done though with. That was the last one that I had to get to 8-star that buddy.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Nice. Nice. Well, I got all the Ascent shells that I needed. So I got it up to like 15,000 and then remembered that I had to put my Gladiator Mantis to 40 before I could upgrade my Scorpion. So I've lost them all.
I know. I hate that. I'm like, oh, you got to get 2 to 50.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah, you know what? I normally write this stuff down. Do you know what I mean? I keep notes so I don't kind of like lose track because I am guilty of the occasional sidetrack. I can get sidetracked, and so I like to keep notes. And for this one single task, I forgot to make any notes whatsoever. Got all excited because I got my 15,000, and then realised I needed to spend pretty much 10,000 of them, I think, isn't it, on the Gladiator? So, yeah, that was exciting.
It's the red dot. It's the red dot on, like, because I right now
Honestly.
I'm waiting to upgrade something, and I have a red dot on the insect I don't want to touch, and it's glaring at me, and
It's stressful, yeah.
Mhm.
It's red dot is stressful. It is an absolutely recognised syndrome. So I completely concur. It is a very stressful time. So
I've become desensitized.
what about you, buddy? Jake?
No, I didn't get anything from this event, but if I did, I would probably get those buddy fragments as well. I'm trying to get my next buddy up to 4.
Evil soul. Evil.
What are you talking about?
Oh,
Don't look in the chat.
oh no.
I have a
I
permanent
don't know
red
what
dot.
that is.
I have a
The red
permanent red dot on my insect. It's gonna be permanent forever.
Why so?
No, you just
Because
gotta get
I'm
it to level.
pushing.
You just gotta
Because
get it
I'm
to
pushing
200.
the other insect upgrades. So like, I'll never put a level on that fourth insect, right?
Yeah.
Maybe we gotta have like an ignore the red dot button for a certain period of time.
You know what?
That would be
My
nice.
God, that would be so beautiful. So
Is that-
beautiful. Stressful,
red-
isn't it?
Yeah, the red dot in the redeem amp crystal fragments just glares
Oh.
at me all day, and you can't
Mhm.
turn them back into full amp crystals. And I've made that mistake. The first week that amp came out, I converted way too many to fragments.
I think a lot of people made that mistake.
Yeah, it seemed like it was telling you to do it, right? You need
Yeah.
this.
It's like you
Here's a
have
red
to.
dot. No, I hate it. I really, really do. So, okay. So, I mean, I got what I needed out of it, which is great. And I am quite sure, much to Soul's disapproval, I will still buy the reform essences later and add to my reforms. I am listening, Daddy. I am. I promise. I am
Yeah,
buying
yeah.
skins. I promise. Okay. So, what else do we do? Season. I'm pretty sure everybody is in season listening, I would assume. So, what happened last night? 23s. Everybody get those yesterday?
Mm,
Yeah.
evil.
23 Hornets. Yeah.
23 Hornets. Oof.
23 Hornets. I mean, I know they're hard for you, Soul, but you know, we'll circle back around to how much effort you've had to put in to kill them.
Hey, I'm telling you, those things are kind of nasty. I'm not gonna lie.
Honestly,
You
I
gotta,
mean,
you
I
have to
think
like,
with
you
a
have to put up
pro-
your strongest troops. You have to make sure that your troops are full of T12s. I mean,
Mhm.
it's they're hard, but I
Mhm.
already had to do that for the 22s. You know, so like
Mhm.
I'm not noticing a huge difference in power needed against the 23s versus the 22s, but still,
Are you guys getting the warning still? Are you getting the warning?
oh yeah,
Hey,
Oh yeah.
yeah. Okay.
everyone
Don't do
gets
it.
the
Do it
warning.
anyway.
Yeah. Okay.
Ignore
that's
the
fine.
warning. Your natural stats should push you over the edge, regardless of the troop. That as long as you're
Yeah,
using
yeah.
your stronger troops, you
Mhm.
know, you should be
But I
able to
But I
get
see it
through.
like it's back to kind of like early days of the playing the events where you had to put your pro unit in multiple troop
Yeah.
rows so that you could go and like either like hit your geckos easier or your like hunt for nodes easier because you could only get stuff with your, and that was before we got the season stamina for those types of things. But you know, you
Mhm.
always had to have like your run through all the stamina on all units, and so now like hitting the larger levels, which I enjoy because it keeps you on your toes, and you know you can get
Mhm.
complacent when you're not challenged. So, but yeah, it's early days of like going to your first island and all the random mistakes you
Hold
would
on,
make.
you Lexi,
Mhm.
you said you can kill 22s, but only half a 23.
Nah, you should be able to.
I mean, like maybe maybe not with like secondary troops, but I'm sure your pro could kill a 23. Or are you saying like pro and troop 1 you can, but troop 2 and 3 you can't?
That's the same for me.
That's the same for a lot of people.
Mhm.
Yeah,
that's
I,
like-
like
that's-
troop 1 and
that's
2
what-
can kill 23s, but
Yeah.
troop if I don't have, but I don't have full T12s of carrier or guard, so those two units are held back.
No. Plus, why would you fill them up with that anyway? Because you're going to need them for quick swapping in and out rather than healing when
that's-
you're fighting. So
That's kind of what Nim is saying, that like she's rotating the pro into different troops
Hmm.
so that way. Oh, pro versus 23 200k survivors. Wow.
oh wow.
Wow.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm not
Okay.
excited. I haven't hunted my hornets yet, but I have no
That's
fungi
kinda-
right now.
I mean, I'll be honest with you, the difference in what you gain from 23s versus 22s is not significant,
nothing,
really.
Yeah.
I mean, so
It's a
like
pat on your own back.
making them that much harder. I mean, like, to be honest with you, like, I'll port in and I will try to hit 23s, right? But if I come across a 22 or whatever, like, just so I don't have to move around troops, I'll
Teleport
just
around,
hit
yeah.
the 22, whatever, or
Mhm.
21 for that matter. I mean, it's, just to
I do
save
the
a little
same.
bit of time.
I don't, if I can, as long as it's a 21 or above, I'll just take it. I don't
Mhm.
hunt.
I
for
just
all
try to make
23s.
sure that that first one is a 23 or 22,
Yeah.
like whatever the highest one is, But
Yeah.
outside of that, like, it's kind of negligible what you gain.
But it's
you know.
also like that with geckos, because we were having this discussion earlier about
Mm.
45 level 45s versus a level 40 when it comes to rewards. It's more
Yep.
hit that 45 first, but then
Yeah.
everything else you hunt is 40. Yes, you do take a, like what you said, I think Bug said it was 30, 60 to 30.
30 for
Um,
60 for the first one, and then 30 for everyone else after that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, to some
I w-
people, it might not make a huge difference, but I mean, even for me, when I have the time, I'm just gonna struggle against the 45s to get 30 extra resin each hit. Yeah.
When those 45s first came out and I saw like 2 failed hits, I was like, what the hell? That was.
Honestly, I did
I'm like,
exactly
come
the
on.
same.
My teammates didn't join, or they sent like T2s with the assumption that I'm gonna wipe them, and then like we lost. I was like, what the hell? I'm like,
like I just did the exact same thing on 2 of them.
not one of you guys sent something good enough that it would like carry it over the edge. I'm like, dude, I was trying to hunt them with T10s and just epic failure. I'm like, okay, well, I guess I gotta be careful here.
Expected these uplifts. We knew that they were going to get stronger. We knew that there were going to be improvements, but I actually think they've done it in such a way, like the lizards, the hornets, the nodes. They've all been done in such a way that, if you're saying, there's 2 you've had to think, and I think that's the thing. You have had to think, even at your level, you've had to actually consider what you're sending. Whereas up until this season, you could have pretty much sent what you liked and it'd be fine. You know what I mean?
So this is my
So-
point. I
And
actually,
It's amazing.
Fox.
Mm.
Okay, just to give you an idea of like my mentality when playing this game, right? Like, so there are a bunch of ants that I want to bring experience to, right?
Mm.
So I have the blue ants that give experience set up in I have a preset
Yeah.
rally. And to make it so that it's more more efficient for me, I'll put these ants in that I want to gain experience, and I line everything up with T10 carriers, right? So like I have 4
Even
lineups. Doesn't matter if it's a shooter ant, guardian ant, whatever, right? Like, and in previous events, I could hit a 20, no problem, all 4 units with these mismatched ants and, all carriers so that they're running across the map faster so I can be more efficient, right? And then
Yeah.
when I started hitting 21s and was losing, I'm like, oh, shit, this sucks. Like, so then the 22s came out, 23s. I'm like, dude, I have to put like my absolute strongest ants in. Okay.
Yep.
And like some of those ants are maxed, right? So there's not gaining any experience. I could definitely not use the blue ants, right? Like you like it just wasn't working. So I'm like, so now it's back to like Nim said, where like, yeah, my guardians are marching across the map really slowly to hit it. And then on top of that, I'm not gaining the experience from hunting that particular hornet because I do want to get the extra resin. I do want to get the extra seasoned fruit, whatever, right? So I'm using, it's just not as efficient as far as being able to maximize what that hunting represents, right? Like to me, that hunting is, yes, I'm grabbing the resin. Yes, I'm grabbing the fruit. Yes, I'm doing this.
You're also getting a hill benefit on your
token, I'm also gaining experience on ants that maybe down the road I will upgrade, for free. Not having to spend kiwi honey into an ant that I'm not really trying to push up that much, right? But yeah, that went out the window with this introduction. So now it's a little bit slower marches, a little bit more thought has to be. You got to make sure you have enough T12s to fill the thing, or you have to rotate your pro unit or whatever into other marches, so that way you're equally spending stamina across the different units to get them hunted.
We'll
It's-
also
it's
have
brought
assault
back
soldier
the
ants
old
too
stuff.
when we go into some other seasons, so that could change how
Oh yeah.
we have to navigate it too.
But hasn't it brought back kind of old vibes now?
Hmm.
Like it's brought back actually having to think about what you're doing. I mean, the hornets are one thing, but I mean the lizards were like, I mean that was OG, like literally waiting for your best guy to get on so you could all try and get the 20. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
that was
exactly.
that was so cool.
Well,
Not
and I
actually
mean-
being able to win.
It's kind
I
of
still-
good that we get humbled once in a while.
Absolutely. I mean, I still remember like when I could solo the first 30, right? Like on server, like, oh my God, that was like such an accomplishment because, oh, I can solo this. I don't have to wait for but to your point, it was fun back then too. Like I would like time it with at least one or two of my friends in the alliance. Like, hey, we got to get on at this time. Let's do geckos or whatever, right? Or not geckos, lizards, right? So we can, or other teammates would be like waiting. They knew what time, like, oh, at reset, we all meet and form together. And
But we'd plan that, wouldn't we? We would all plan to be there because it was a new day. We'd all plan to get our biggest, highest lizards out the way. And I don't know, this has brought back a bit of the social element that I think has maybe kind of been lost over time, because
How
it's
about
actually
this?
kind of bringing people back together to actually, need help in an alliance again. I think it's been awesome.
At one point on one of the teams that I was at, we didn't allow players to join gecko rallies. Okay. Like we told them, rally your own lizards, rally your own geckos, right? Like do not join any, everyone rally their own unless you can't do it, right? Like if you can't do it, then go ahead and join one of the ones, whatever. But if you can solo, you rally your own because it gives more. It gives more of the no, it's not that. It was giving more of the alliance points, right?
Yeah.
So that was a tactic to get more alliance points because for every lizard that's killed, it gives alliance points. So if 5 people join a rally on a lizard or gecko, that's you're yeah, exactly. So that's 5 more lizards that could have been killed on the map that day. That so at one point we would tell players like I remember sending out a mail: do not join gecko or lizard rallies. Hunt your own, so that way the team gets more alliance points. So.
Do you remember kicking people when they did join because they weren't strong enough and you needed all 4 strong players to kill it?
Oh yeah, I remember that too. Yeah, that's sorry.
Old days.
I'm not gonna be able to
Like,
kill this one. Send a
honestly,
stronger
honest to
troop.
God, there are people that play now that just will never ever get that kind of, I don't know. It was the planning and the intensity that we all had to go through to make sure that we had certain people on at certain times just to be able to do it. It was amazing. So I love this. I love the fact that, you know, we can't all just bash out whatever we want. I love that we've actually now got to start rearranging troops, like you've said. I love that you can't now just, you know, use your blue insects to get extra XP. I do love it. I know it's frustrating and I know it's not as convenient and, you know, it does take longer, but I love it. I think it's back to, you know, everybody almost not being on the same level, but everyone has the same struggles. That's the point. Absolutely everybody has the same struggles. So I think it's been a great update. Really do.
Well, the good question in the chat too is the real question is, will we have level 40 lizards on server?
I think you have to, don't you? I think once they see the feedback on this, and once obviously everyone does actually appreciate that it is a big social element, that it is something which is enjoyable, it just adds that little bit of extra fun back to server life that, you know, most
think
people
maybe-
go on
I
skiing
think- I
holidays
don't-
for.
I don't think that's gonna happen until Assault Soldier ants start
Yeah,
popping up on the.
it might not
Yeah.
be right away, but maybe another season after, like the next season when we start to see assault soldiers and stuff. Yeah.
That'd be cool. So really liked that. Just kind of while we're in the season sort of side of things, these guardian ant colonies, are they broken, or have I just lost power overnight? I don't know what's going on with them, but I can't take a level 12 guardian colony in server, in season right now. I just can't, and it's difficult to kind of work out why. And I can mix troops, I can have enhanced everything, I can do whatever, and they are, unfortunately, 11s, very, very easy, no issue whatsoever. 12s, computer says no, like, can't get through it. Is this kind of universal? Is there a lot of struggles on these if you're not kind of a guardian main?
It's
I
not.
think
It's not that. I think people don't understand how they are working. Like, to you, Guardian nodes are the hardest, and to me, Guardian nodes were the easiest to get.
Okay.
I
That's
struggled with
absolutely
carrier
fine.
nodes, and the reason being is, like, so before you could hit the higher level, when you're trying to get like more T12s, right? You're kind of focused on your main troop type, right? So, like, I've always ran kind of like either GSS or SSS or GGG, depending on situations or whatever. So shooters and guardian nodes are the ones that I'm kind of going after, right? And my lineups are, like, my best ants are geared towards shooters and guardians. Well, with the new nodes or the new higher level nodes, you really have to be troop type against troop type. So how about this? I'm going to even give you a prime example. I can take a level 14 shooter node with a GSS formation that I have, like, in my troop 2, okay?
Okay.
But I can't take a carrier node with it. But my carriers, which are my weakest, because I don't have as many ants developed in carriers or insect or anything like that, I can take a carrier node with my troop 4. Even though I can't take a carrier node with my troop 3, which is much more developed ants, much higher level insect, everything. But with the carrier march, I can take a carrier node, no problem.
Right.
So even though it's technically like a weaker unit overall in my types of troops. So the reality is, you kind of have to like if you're going after a carrier node, you need to use a carrier march. If you're going after a guardian node, you have to use a guardian march, so on and so forth. So that's where I think people are like that's why you think guards are harder nodes to get. And for me, I'm like, no, carrier nodes are way harder to get.
Okay, so I don't have any guard set up in any way, shape, or form. So
yeah, but put together a guard setup, and I guarantee you'll, even if they're not starred guards, right? Just like damage producing guard ants that you might have at level 50. Okay, you'll be able to take higher level nodes than what you're able to take now, or like that you're saying that they're broken. But you also have to have like full amount of T12s to do it. It's not like
see, I'm not going to have enhanced because I'm literally about 85% of my last guardians. So
yeah, I don't know how much of a factor enhanced versus non-enhanced play in it. I mean, we know that the enhanced troops have a little bit more damage or whatever, but for the most, they're kind of technically almost the same, right? The difference is the amount of resources that are required, the amount and type of resources that are required to heal them. So like, I personally don't think there's a huge difference in seasoned troops that are enhanced versus non-enhanced versus, except for the amount of materials needed to heal them. So like, it is definitely better to fight with enhanced because it uses less resources. So like, it's not as big a drain on the account if you're fighting with enhanced. I don't think, I think it's negligible, the actual power difference between them.
Okay, so if I'll go back in and try that in a little while then, and just swap out to it'll be an average starred guardian troop, and just sort of see what difference that makes. But I mean, I've got guardian players as well as guardian mains that are even struggling to hit 12s themselves. So I don't know whether that's background stats or what.
The other factor too is that like you got to make sure you have enough of them, right? Like, do you have enough guardian to be able to fill all 3 lines?
2.5. I haven't really done anything with them.
That's another thing. Once you can fill all 3 lines, that will make it easier. And then honestly, even as time goes along, your alliance is grabbing building buffs that are helping towards maybe guardian attack or whatever. And so like that'll make it easier as the event unfolds. I'm looking forward to see upgrading these things if they're going to be a pain in the tush, you know.
Yeah, so. But what are you on now? 13. You're on 13s, I take it anyway, aren't you? All the way through.
Yeah, so like I've got all 14s or 13s right now. Like I've upgraded anything that was below 13. Up, but I'm telling you, some of those 13s, I would have a 12, let's say, and I'm trying to upgrade it to 13. I'd fail a couple times, right? Because I'm not utilizing the proper troop or whatever may be the case. So like, it does require a lot more thinking because like your natural instinct is, I'm going to use my pro troop to upgrade this 11 node to a 13 now that the milestone opened or whatever. And then I go hit it with my pro troop and I fail, right? But then I hit it with my troop 4, which is a carrier troop, and it succeeds every time. So the mentality has to be like, you got to use your best lineup that you have for the type of node that it is. Once you cross that and once you start thinking that way, because like before it was always like, my pro troop's my strongest. That's what I have developed the most. Best ants, best insect is on my pro. That one will take every node type. Well, no, it doesn't work that way anymore. Once you get into the higher level nodes, it's 100%. Even though my troop 4 is significantly weaker than my pro troop, But my pro troops lined up with guardians and is just not able to upgrade or not able to, take that higher level node. I have to use, and especially if you're stealing nodes from enemy.
Oh yeah. Like their territory.
Oh,
Oh,
did he disappear?
Oh,
Teams
yeah.
bonus.
Oh, there we go. He's back.
Mm,
Sounds like he has
Right,
some connection
Who
issues.
disappeared?
you
You back,
cut
Tom?
out to.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, so like is there a little bump? I'm pretty sure there is. Like if a player controls the node and you try to attack it or whatever, they see it's harder to take a node from an enemy than it is to like take a fresh node.
We
I
haven't
don't
done
know
much
where.
node fighting this season.
No. I mean, I know the distance is a thing, but I've not seen anything that shows that it is harder. Maybe there is
There
that
is a
initial
warning.
break.
There is a
yeah.
warning when you do attack a player controlled node versus
Yeah.
like
You have a loss to your soldier ants, or soldier ants. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's because you're doing an actual battle against, aren't you? But
I'm pretty sure that also means that it's harder to take that node than taking a fresh node because of the
Alright.
loss, or like you have to heal in that case versus.
I guess so. Yeah, because you are going to be depleting ants as you go through. Then yeah, you are going to be making it harder just by default, aren't you? So. Okay.
Crimson Pearl.
Love Crimson Pearl.
Bison is bad for PvE. I agree.
Mhm.
Bison is bad for the entire game, just so you know.
It's bad when you're facing up against a bison in a tower.
Bison is the absolute
worst
devil
ant in the
Let me
game.
just tell you,
Yeah.
worst ant ever. Okay. And not because it's literally the worst ant. It's probably one of the best ants in the game, but it is the worst ant because there is, I don't care what anybody tells me about the percentages. Okay. I do not care what the hatch rates are. I do not care about anything. They have something on that ant that they want to deny it to every player I know. Okay.
Yeah.
Every player I know has struggled. I have friends that have hatched 800 eggs for 3-4 seasons in a row and can't get the dupes of bison to bring it up to like 7-star. Okay.
Eesh.
It's a nasty ant for that reason. So,
All right, I'm
It's-
just going to go out on a wing here and say I have literally, well, I mean, I've not spent a huge amount, but I've bought a reasonable amount of eggs, and I am yet still to get the Mimic Crawler. Not one single solitary copy in all this time. Not one. So, yeah, I feel that. I really, really do. But I think it's maybe there's like a
blessing
little
Captain Boggs.
yeah. There must be someone somewhere that's looking at our troops and going, ha ha ha, you can't have that one, you can't have that one, you can't have that one.
Well, I have to say that after a long time, I finally hatched my first SSA.
Hooray!
It only it was the only free orange ant that I did not have. I've hatched
Amazing.
at least one copy of everything else, and
Amazing.
like it took this long to get me one. I will probably never see another one, and I can't use it for anything currently, but I do actually have one.
This feels like a pep talk. So what you're saying is any minute now I'm going to get a Mimic.
You just never know. I hatched a
Yeah,
mimic this season too. Those are the two ants I hatched. Was a mimic and a SSA.
Oh my god. Literally cannot find it. I think it died and just crawled under a rock, and now I
It-
just never gonna
but I
see it
mean,
ever again.
How many seasons have we played where the like SSA and mimic existed? Like
3? We 3 now?
it feels like 2 years I've been trying
Well,
to.
yeah. It feels
gonna
like
take
2
this-
years, but I think it is 3 seasons.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to give a public service announcement. Please harass your fairies, devs. Go into the suggestions box and let's get the clover to be selectable instead of
Oh,
random.
please.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that is the one
Game
push
changer.
that I have
Mhm.
in this game that bugs me the most out of everything possible in this game. Okay. I think like
For real.
it is such a first off, I'm not gonna lie. I think it's borderline insulting to players that there are S3 ants in the clover pool. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
That first and foremost, that I have to give up a S4 ant to potentially get an S3 ant is just absolutely insulting to me as a player. Okay.
It's mind-boggling.
So that bothers me more than anything. But to take it to another level, like there are so many advantages for both players and the devs to make Clover selectable that it boggles my mind that they haven't done it. Like I don't even know what they're thinking. Okay. Number one,
Mhm.
think about you as a player. Okay. How much harder are you going to try in an event to win to get a Clover that you know you'll be able to pick the ant that you want? Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
And then on top of that, from a gaming perspective, it's not that game changing. You have like, let's say, I mean, it's not even 50%. It's less than 50% because you have Lost Island where 1 in 8 teams or 1 in 6 teams are going to win, be able to get a Clover. But like, and then Vast Jungle, it's if a red camp wins, it's like 2 teams and 3 teams don't get it, right? So it's less than 50% of players would potentially get this Clover that's selectable. So you're not changing the overall gameplay much by doing this, but you're going to make players so much happier that they're able to do that. And on top of which, okay, teams will try so much harder to win. Okay, so that's more time in the game. That's like more more fungi being purchased. People might buy season stamina because they're like in that tight fight on a season. Like, oh, we have a chance of winning this, and Clover is the game changer because we'll be able to get the ant that we want. So like. I don't know, dude. That to me is the one change I think would be just the absolute epic change brought into this game. Where here you get a chest instead of Clover or whatever, you get a chest. Pick the ant you want out of the latest season 3, season 4, whatever.
Literally any, because people have still got marches 2, 3, and 4 that they want old dupes for. They still do. You get to a point where you need them still. So, but yeah, if I could select a mimic, I would be more than happy. So anyone listening in,
actually, Evil Ninja, I'm going to tell you this right now. Okay, as a purchaser, okay, I mean, most of you guys know I do purchase in this game or whatever. Okay, I have completely given up on buying season eggs completely. I don't buy them anymore at all. 0. Just whatever freebies that are given in like the season hatch plan. Cause or not the hatch, what's the pack where, for the entire event or whatever in order to get like whatever
like
free.
Yeah.
Or the one with the enhancement resin, it gives you 1 egg or whatever. But like to sit there and buy the actual eggs. And I used to, at a minimum, get 600 eggs, hatch 600 season eggs a season. And it's been 3 seasons now, maybe 4 seasons. I don't even buy a single one. because it's like the percentage of what you're getting, and then getting these season 3 ants that I don't really. I mean, it's just there's other areas that I would rather spend in because I don't feel that it's a value. You know, the season development plan. Yeah, that's it. So like, yeah, whatever. I get some eggs out of that or whatever. But the bottom line is, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know how many people feel the same way as I do on that, but yeah, it just seems I
Honestly,
get a bunch of junk out of it. So
the clovers, they were great. Do you remember when the wetlands came out and we got the guaranteed? And I mean, that was great. You know, it was great. Try the beta, get a guaranteed, blah blah blah, no problems. But I don't know why that felt like it was different ants. It felt like they were newer ants. I don't know why. That was the last time I got excited about, obviously, the clovers. Because, like you say, yeah, I'll rotate it through now. I'll get rid of something that I'm not going to use, and I'll end up with, I don't know, some other random ant that I'm still not going to use. Like
Exactly.
rainbow wings. Like rainbow wings. Oh my god, rainbow wings! I have had more rainbow wings than I could possibly tell you.
I mean, when they
genuinely ended up-
announced that they were going to make the 800th egg a selectable one as well, the 800 hatch, I'm like, well, I guess it's a step in the right direction, but it's like kind of almost a step in the wrong direction because, like, how many players have already like felt like I do and given up on buying any at all? Like, oh, so you're going to get one extra ant if you chase all the way to 800 instead of 600? Whatever.
Yeah.
I will never in the history of ever hatch 600 or 800 eggs for the season. Like it's never ever happening. Mm-mm.
I mean, here, okay, if you want to look at it from a perspective of like ROI, I'm not like, forget I'm going to ignore the dollar amount that it gets to in order to go all the way to 600. You're better off getting one of the paid ants. Like, it's a guarantee, right? Like, okay, if I'm going to spend this much money in a potential to get ants, why? I would just rather spend that on a paid ant that comes out that's going to be, you know, probably more OP than any of the, you know, because they're going to come out with an awakening faster. They're going to, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
so, like,
100%.
from a ROI perspective, you're just better off grabbing a paid ant. I mean, if you're going to do that, because one paid ant can completely overhaul your entire lineup. Okay, instead of chasing after maybe I get the good season ant that I need for my lineup, it just
and spend twice
for
the
me,
amount of money.
the easiest solution and the way that you would like increase player satisfaction, and I'm telling you, like, just by nature, okay. If players, here's the thing, so many of these events have turned into these boring, you know, like an OP team. Like, you may land on an event where a team is so overpowered, their reputation's so known, they're super active, right? And then you sit back with your teammates and you're like, well, dude, whether we win or lose, what's the only difference? It's we get a clover that's going to give us an ant that's blah. Outside of that, it's pretty much almost identical rewards. Yeah, there might be a few less ants in the random pool that you're only going to get one ant out of anyway with the whether you get Explorer or you get the Dominator egg at the end, right? So, like, the only difference is the pool is slightly less, okay? But in some cases, you may want an ant that is in that Explorer pool, so you're technically even giving yourself better odds by losing, okay? Because there's less ants in it that, you know. So, like, so these events, so you match in a season, and Lexi, yes, you're right. My team is one of the teams that are like that. So, you know, we land on a season, and automatically teams are like, well, we don't have a chance to win because this team is overpowered or whatever. And so the event just kind of plays off like, you know, whatever. Just, yeah, there might be a little bit of fighting here or there or whatever, but it doesn't, there's nothing big happening because in these players' minds, it's like, I'm going to spend all these resources and healing speed ups and whatever. And in the end, it's going to be the same. So I
Mhm.
think that is a game changer. Clover needs to be selectable because across the board, everything will get better in the game. Players will be happier. More teams will actually try to push to get that clover because they want that certain ant. Okay. And they
Mhm.
know that they can just trade up another ant. And then, yeah, even with that, people are able to build better troops. So they're going to be a lot happier, right? Like, oh, I need this bison to make my team stronger or whatever. So, oh, now if we win, I get a clover, and I don't know. I
Can
just,
do it. Yeah.
sorry for going on a rant there, guys, but yeah, that's,
It's true
No,
though,
it's
'cause I
fine.
think that's one
We've
of the
got
biggest
you.
disappointments I have is my hatching. It's like, honestly, the fact that I hatched something I wanted this season, I was like, how
oh,
the heck
that's a
did
good
that
idea
happen?
too, you Lexi.
What's
I
What's
that
that?
like
idea?
that one. He wrote in here that there should be another sign up option where you get 20% more rewards. Okay. You can select a preference of event you want, but any season map can come. So it gives the devs the ability to be like, oh, this team, this team, this team, this team. They all chose the 20% extra rewards. So now we can put them on any event that they want. And so then they can actually
Mm.
match up a lot easier because a lot of teams will select that, oh, 20% more rewards. And then, if you wind up in an event with like a super team, then yeah, well, you chose to get the 20% extra rewards.
Yeah, fair.
Hmm.
Okay. Did anyone have anything in world suggestions they wanted to chuck in before we start wrapping up? I don't think there was a huge amount in there other than everyone that's just run into world now just to go and complain about the clover on Soulspark. Yeah. I don't think there was a huge amount, really, was there? I think we've all been busy, kind of in season and whatever else. We always know this is like the sort of quiet week where everyone's focused on tunnels opening and whatever else.
Before
So,
we go, though, I do want to post that last one because it was someone
Mhm.
posted the question, and so I'm gonna cover that real quick.
mhm.
But so this question was posted by one of our. I'm gonna put it in the live chat. Bug's gonna actually cover it a little bit more, but there was a question that was added into the stage. Oh, what happened here? My phone's acting up.
The underground maze
There
one,
we
yeah.
go. Yep. So this is like kind of a question that a lot of players have asked over the course of since Underground Maze came out. So we're going to cover this just a little bit because everyone has kind of their own path towards it. So we touched on a little bit one of the things that I do is like try to gain experience on these ants. And the reason I do that is mainly for this, right? Like um, the way I look at the game is that like every ant is important for one reason or another. So like a big portion of my thinking on that is this underground maze. In order to gain the materials and stuff needed for awakenings and stuff, it's kind of an important factor in the game. But it's more often than not an overlooked factor in the game because, like who wants to invest spores or kiwi into an ant like spiny or
Mhm.
an ant that is not kind of relevant as much anymore. Well, this underground maze is kind of one of the reasons that you do that. There's another reason would be also towards the troop boost event, right? Like you got to
Yeah.
put so many stars in order to get further in that area. But we'll keep it to this. I will tell you this: Bug has kind kind of gotten this down to a science. I know not all of us approach this part of the game equally. There's some that do it very lazily. There's some that do it a little less lazily, and then there's some that do it really hardcore. So,
Or all the above.
I-
Depending on the
I
week.
yeah.
posted this
Depending
chart.
on the mood.
I posted this cheat sheet that Bug came up with months ago. I don't know how updated the one I have is, or if he's updated it anymore. So I'll let you discuss that with like the newer ants that came out. But the point is that like this chart is very well done. He kind of took it to like there's certain bonuses like as you're going through the maze that assist in clearing that particular boss. So go ahead, Bug. You kind of explained it a little bit.
Yeah,
more.
so each bug that you fight, you're gonna have different weaknesses. Okay, in each of the levels of the maze, each bug has a weak. In some cases there's no weakness, and that's okay. But 9 times out of 10 there is a weakness. So let's say that weakness is damage reduction, and you're using a shooter ant. So I have this column for damage reduction shooter ants, like for Formica clara, CI, MR, Sly, Predator, Banshee Panda. Those are all damage reduction ants. So if you use those ants, they're going to receive less damage, and therefore you're going to be able to go to the next level with them, and they're going to be stronger and not die out as quickly. One other thing that I do is sometimes, let's say you only have 2, like if you go down to universal ants, there's only 2 ants that have suppress. If you're on an early or lower maze level, you can just put in those 2 ants only, and it'll still work. Assuming your power is, over the required power of that bug, it's going to work really well. But even sometimes, in some cases, I don't even put a 3rd ant in because I have those 2 suppress ants, Slim Arched and Bullet Ant, that are not going to die off as quickly because they have this sort of like immunity to the bug's weakness that it's fighting. So the only couple ants that I don't have on here yet are like the honeypot, the bright Ponerine, and maybe the rainbow chaser. So there's maybe 3 ants that I don't have on here, but this helps me get so far ahead than quick raid. But sometimes I'm too lazy and I do quick raid as well. But if I have the time to do this, I can get so high up compared to quick raid, and every little bit counts. If I'm doing that every week, getting an extra 1,000, 2,000 tower snail shells, that adds up over the course of months.
Exactly.
What level are you hitting?
Right now, 55.
Oh, damn.
And just to give you an idea, okay, stat wise, Bug is behind me, right? We can all agree to that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
way behind. Like,
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm only getting to 54. Okay, so he's getting a level ahead of me by doing it like the proper way, while I am doing it very lazily, just kind of quick filling. So yeah, I mean, I know. How about this? I'm getting about 54, 55 doing it like the lazy way. Okay. I actually followed his chart one week just to see how far I could get, and I bumped it all the way up to 59. Okay.
wow.
So
Right.
it definitely works if you want to squeeze out some extra levels to get higher up on the list so you can get more of the material and everything like that. To me, a 5-level boost is huge. I mean, that can be the difference in 2-3 different positions where you get higher rewards at the end of the week.
Plus, each level you go further, you get the rewards from each level.
Oh
you
yeah,
pass.
exactly.
We should test it this week. Like, make the effort to
Yeah.
look at where we are and then come back with a report next week.
Andrew,
And
yes.
see how many
Well,
see how many we've gained.
define experience of ants count in the maze. Like between one level and another level, or you're because everything does count.
Yeah, so the experience of the ant will determine the strength of the ant, and
Exactly.
for certain bugs, you're going to need a certain power level to attack and kill that bug. So it'll show you when you put your lineup how much power you have, and you can determine whether or not that's more or less than the required amount of power to kill that bug.
Well, also the the level of the skills definitely count.
Yeah.
I don't think that necessarily the experience. I don't think that counts so much as like you need to have so many experience in order to get it. Like ants I don't use, for example, I still max out the skills and invest the spores in them so that it's a level 50 with all of the skills at level 10. That's where it helps, but the experience itself I don't think helps at all.
If I'm not mistaken, the number above it is the power for that special ant. When you add that into your troop, you'll get 1.1 million power and 40,000.
Yeah.
So I think that's what matters, and you gain that by unlocking skills and getting all those skills to the highest level you can get them to.
Yeah.
Correct. And then, but in order to get that power up, you have to have so much experience in order to open up the skill. So I don't think the total experience matters. I think it's the power, and obviously you need to have experience in order to open up certain skills and add stars or whatever. So that all matters towards it. Not necessarily. I mean, if you have a 4-star ant, its power level is higher, but you could have a 4-star ant and not have any of the skills open beyond 11, let's say, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, even if you have the experience to open up a skill, it doesn't change the matter until you do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the total experience, I don't think, plays a factor, and it's more so getting to the point where you can open up the skills and then invest in the skills in order to make that ant stronger.
Right,
So-
I'm off leveling my spiny as we speak.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, I've utilized. I'm telling you, like any ant that I get, like the priority is to get that ant up to level 50 so that all I can open up all the skills, and I bring every skill up to 10. Okay, so obviously you don't want to sacrifice spores and stuff to bring an ant up to that level when you have other ants that need that material. The priority should always be on your main fighting troops or even like your PvE troops. So like investing spores and bringing up the level of the skills on an ant you're not using is like at the bottom of your list of priorities, or should be, but it is still something you should look at, because having as many ants possible so that you can get further in that, so you can get more awakening material, is still a kind of an important priority. Because there's a lot of, with the whole awakening system, there's a lot of benefits to grabbing those, because even on ants that you're awakening that you might not be using, but because of that awakening gallery, it's important to get that material and get as much material as you possibly can. So, you do want to do well in this underground maze as best as you can. So every little bit helps. And this chart that Bug came up with is phenomenal. When he came up with it months ago, I was like, finally, something easy and like easy to break down, and when to use which ant is something that was definitely well needed, and I really thank you, Bug, for taking the time to do all of that. It's
You're very welcome.
Well, now we know what we're doing this week.
Yeah.
Definitely. Like, no, I,
mean,
think it's a good idea. Yeah.
like
you're saying,
Snoopy
Ian.
says, it sounds like too much work for the maze, but if you're a free-to-play player, these types of tips and tricks can
Mhm.
really make a big difference in some of the stats on your hill and stuff. So, I mean, it is work, but I mean, I'm going to test it for sure.
How about this? Even if you're not a free-to-play player, this was very helpful. I'm not a free-to-play player, and this was very, very helpful, and it helped me get much further in the maze. And because of that, I, typically. How about this? There's players in my server right now that are among the top players in this game, and I beat them week after week. I'm in first place almost every week on this particular one, and I know for a fact they have more ants than me. They have more, ants at higher levels than me. So it's something that is for everybody, really. To be honest with you, it goes to the old adage that if you play this smartly, okay, in some cases it does beat investment in it. I how many 8-star ants do you have, Bug?
Not even 12. I don't know. Let me check. Where are they? Six 8-stars, 3 7-stars, 1 6-star. Then the rest are just like 4 or 1 or whatever.
Okay. And just to let everyone in the audience know, I have 12 8-stars. I don't know. I think 4 7-stars. Maybe 1 5-star and a bunch of 4-stars. Okay. And he's getting further in the maze than I am, week after week. Okay. So, and that again, it's by choice. I'm playing it lazily or whatever, and he's taking the time to actually do this properly or whatever, and so he's able to get much further in the maze than I am. So like that can be correlated to everyone else in your server, right? So like, and because of that, I bet you he's got way more awakening material than I do. I assume you're getting first place or close to it in your server, Bug.
Yeah, if I buy the extra materials, I'm always first place. But the last couple weeks, I'm like, oh, I'll just see what happens without it, and I only receive like 2,000 or 3,000 less tower snail shells and save $15.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
when I buy the extra materials, first place every time. Very rare that I don't get first place. But one trick I will give to you guys is that I do not pick up all the buffs along the way. I take the absolute shortest path to get to the boss, Bug, and I overlook some of the buffs unless they're on that shortest path to get to the boss, Bug.
Mm-hmm.
So some people,
I do the same thing.
Some people think, well, I got to grab all the buffs, to have the, be stronger, whatever. I just go straight the shortest path possible. And then, yeah, like you were saying, the ultimate point of this is like the Awakening Gallery. For the huge buffs in the Awakening Gallery, you need Awakenings.
You need material. You need the protein to invest into the ant because, here's the thing. Hold on. I'm going to post this. I've done this before to show people, but the buffs that you get from that Awakening Gallery, I'm a big chaser of general stat buffs. Okay, I think that they're pretty
There's very few
important.
places else in the game that you can get the same amount of buffs that you get from the Awakening Gallery. Very few places.
Okay. But I'm just going to post this as a quick. So if you look here, okay, you'll notice that there's a ton of ants here that I have awakened, and I bring them up to level 10. I promise you I'm not using most of these ants, okay? So, but the reason why I do that is because it's fairly low amount of protein and shells that are needed to grab those awakenings, and by taking it to level 10, it allows you to open up another awaken. You can go into the second level of the awakening, which then gives you more points that go towards that gallery. Okay, but it's a way to get free stat improvement on your account, right? But in order to do that, you have to have enough shells. You have to have enough awakening material. And the only way you can do that is if you play the maze pretty smartly. And that chart that Bug came up with is phenomenal to do that. I guarantee you, any player that versus hitting the quick raid button and actually following the chart and doing the maze and taking the shortcut like Bug mentioned, and not just chasing after every single buff as you go along the maze. I mean, I bet you'll improve 5-6 levels, and that's thousands of material that can go towards investing in, whether it's the ant that you have an awakening that you want to, or trying to get that awakening gallery up there. So.
No, I agree. One of my bugbears, genuinely, where people just don't get what they're getting from the awakening gallery. It's huge. It's pretty huge. So, I think we're pretty much wrapping up, unless anyone's got anything else they want to go over. Nim,
I'm good.
you good, Jake?
I do hope this answered your question, by the way.
It's a good stage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good times.
All good.
Just got the last minute housekeeping stuff.
Go for it. Who's
All
doing
right.
ID?
I will. Yeah, I was going to remind everybody to pop over to our live ID channel and leave your in-game ID there for us to collect, so that we can get you something from Fairy for hanging out with us again. I just also want to reiterate what I said at the beginning, that we're grateful you all show up every Sunday and hang out with us and ask questions. And if there is something that you would like us to cover, please feel free to pop it into the Stage Topics channel. Because without you, we don't always have ideas what to talk about. And sometimes there's things that we learn all the time. So please do that. I also wanted to bring attention to the recruitment channel. There are tons of stage or staff opportunities. If that is something that you feel like you can add to the staff, please check out. There's lots of teams there that, not necessarily just the stage team, but if you are interested, you can find us there. And I think that's it. So I just want to
Hold on,
say
live
thanks.
IDs. Just make sure you, before we close out the channel, if you haven't done so already, put your in-game ID into the live IDs channel. Yep, Jake just posted it in the chat, so we can get the fairies to send you guys all a little gift. I think that's it, guys.
All right.
Well, everybody,
We'll
happy
see-
Sunday.
Yep, happy Sunday. We'll see you guys next week.
All right. Happy Sunday
Have a great
next week.
time. Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.